Today we're completing the Create warehouse and we're building the easiest copper farm I've ever seen. Welcome to a new video in the Create world, where I have been thinking about the last wing we need to build to add to the existing one. We need to add a copper wing. And while there's a lot of brass and alloy things that can be automated, I only found 3 things that I want to automate that use copper and thus are fluid based. Those 3 things are copper plates, casings, and pipes. All the other fluid components are too complicated to make a simple auto crafter, or I just won't use them enough to make them automated. With that being said, the assembly line is pretty straightforward. We start with a mechanical press to turn copper ingots into plates. The second unit is a simple setup that we've used before. This will take the copper ingots and combine them with strip logs. The last one is a bit different, but still pretty easy. We're taking 3 mechanical crafters in line with an arm that'll supply the outer ones with copper plates, and then the middle one will get loaded with ingots through a hopper. This will result into pipes automatically being crafted and dropped off on the belt. All of this will go into a grid of drawers, and honestly, that's it. That's the entire system. But now that we have the third wing in place, we have an estimate on how wide and how big this building will actually be. So let me figure out the outlines for the rest of the building, and then I'll show you the copper farm I'll be building. I recently saw a video by Chapman that used a zombie spawner to make a drown farm. I'll link it in the description if you want to look at it. It's pretty interesting, and yeah, this farm is heavily inspired by it. The biggest difference between Chapman's design and, well, what I'm building is that I'm using Create, so I can do a lot more, like moving spawners, using belts, and so on. If you want to know the technicalities and like how the farm works and how the zombies get converted, just go watch Chapman's video. I'll just be going over some of the changes that I made. I started with some deployers, as those can kill mobs and extract the items at the same time. Then where Chapman uses a 1x1 drop chute, I'm using a 2x1. Simply because the rates on this farm are a bit higher than his one spawner design, so I just want to avoid energy cramming. The actual spawning chamber is pretty simple. It's just a bunch of belts and enough space to house 3 spawners for now. I already have a few zombie spawners because every time I run into one while I'm caving and like lighting up caves for the slime farm, I just pick it up. Because, I mean, I just store them for moments like this. But that's basically it. With the necessary funnels and filters, you got yourself a working copper farm. Now, is it the fastest one? No, not at all. But it's pretty simple to build. And, you know, it took me like, what? Not even 20 minutes? Now, I have been thinking about adding a mod that lets me run spawners even if I'm not within the 16 block radius. Maybe, I don't know, maybe there's a mod that uses redstone trickery and stuff. But, I don't know, just let me know your thoughts on this. Should I do it? Should I not do it? In the comments below. And if you have any mods that do something like this, recommend them. I'll look into them. Because, I don't know, it'll be useful. But now that we have a working copper farm, I have another issue that, well, needs to be fixed. The one thing that keeps happening in this current setup is that the chests in the assembly line would overfill with one item, like, I don't know, planks for instance, and then the input/output belt gets backed up. Now, how are we gonna fix this? I think I can start by replacing the chests with vaults. That way, they will hold more items. That's one. But on the other hand, I can also add more threshold switches so that we can filter out certain items in certain vaults. But we can also read the specific item quantity of that item. While we're at it, we should also rework the switches that I installed so far. But I'll probably hide them underground since there are gonna be quite a lot of them. So give me a moment, I'll do some planning, get some scheduling done, and get all the switches in place. Alright, if what I will show seems complicated to you, you're not alone. I don't understand half of it, but it works, so bear with me. What I did is I basically made a chart and figured out what resources are needed for what recipes. And as a result, I was able to figure out what processes chain together within the create warehouse. Think of it like, for a precision mechanism, we need cogwheels and large cogwheels. So I can't turn off the cogwheel production until I have enough cogwheels into the precision unit. But for cogwheels, I need shafts, and so I can't turn off shafts before I have enough cogwheels, before I have enough precision mechanisms. And then for the shafts, I need alloy, so I can't turn that off either. Does that make sense? But that's basically what I did for all the units within this system. And I also did that for the output of the main resource vault, so that all the units just only get their stuff that they need when they need it. And it looks a bit like this, just a lot of end gates. Now that this is completely done, and with that I mean hopefully it won't break again, we can focus on some independent units. There will be some times in the future where I need to use a mixer or a mechanical press that does not include a crafting recipe in the automated section. So I want to make a wall within the building that has a unit for every mechanism that there is. So we'll start off with a mechanical saw, and then another one for some deployers, third one for a mixer, and then the last one we can add a press, and it kind of just looks like this. We could also do this with fans, like this. And so we can wash, smelt, smoke, or haunt anything we want with this. Which, as you can believe, it's pretty useful. You've probably also noticed that I've been using andesite casings to start adding to the interior walls of this place. But that's mostly because I needed to know where I can add these extra units. On the other hand, I do need to clean up the mess in the center of this place, and I'll replace it with an actual storage unit. This looks a lot better. Every storage space holds the items that correspond to the wing it's stationed at. And then of course we have a separate one for redstone and a separate one for crafting and storage items. But this already looks a lot cleaner, but it also feels a lot more organized. One last thing though, I need to figure out how we're gonna get copper from the farm to the main input vault on the other side of the building. And I need to get strip lugs from there to here. And yeah, we could run a belt back and forward, but I think a little hanging cart on a monorail would do a lot better. And so far so good. I think the functionality of the factory is complete. We've got all wings in place. So we've got a copper wing now to accompany our alloy and brass wing. We have some semi-automatic units as well, so we can just crush things, so we can do stuff without it having to go through the main system. And then we have a copper farm. So I think we're good for today. I'm gonna go and edit this video. If you liked it, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you all next week. Bye!